Shalom everyone. So I wanted to talk to you today about Wordly Wise, and this is a program from kindergarten to 12th grade. It's a vocabulary development program, and I just wanted to kind of walk you through what it has to offer. So as you can see, this is the teacher's resource book, and this book provides teachers with materials, information, and tools to help improve their students' vocabularies, and it includes direct instruction, which has read aloud stories, effective teaching strategies and techniques for direct instruction, word list, reproducible, Blackline Masters for homeschool connection activities, tips for working with English language learners, formal and informal assessments, and instruction for formal assessments, reproducible checklists to help track individuals, and class progress. So over here, let me just show you the content really quickly. This is what it looks like. Okay, and it speaks about, over here, it speaks about teaching vocabulary in the early grades, And it talks about if the children cannot read words that are important for them to understand, they can learn, how can they learn new words? And it goes on to say that they can learn them orally. Children can understand much more sophisticated content presented orally than they can read them. And it also states that one way that we can help our children's early vocabulary acquisition is by reading aloud to them. And one of the best ways to increase vocabulary size is to teach words directly. So this was pretty interesting, and that's basically what that said. This over here has the program overview. It has the program features and the benefits of each activity. For example, reading aloud stories and poems, and the benefits are to save valuable time by placing everything you need right at your fingertips, things like that. Homeschool connection activities in each lesson, and the benefits of that is to provide additional opportunities to practice and reinforce new vocabulary while keeping families involved in the learning process. Now over here it discussed what should we teach, what kinds of words should we teach to our student, and it speaks about the 4th grade slump, and when children switch from, which is when children switch from learning to read to reading to learn, and what the missing component is. And basically it's saying that the missing component is the ability to learn, to comprehend vocabulary, and to understand what they are reading. And they mentioned that the domain words provide a rich introduction to higher level vocabulary. So, it's pretty interesting how that is laid out. So over here, it shows you how you can pace your activities for over a 2-week period. And this is a basic lesson plan already planned out for you, and for each day. So for the first week, you'll be covering 3 days, and for the second week, you'll be covering 4. And at the end of the 4th day, you will be doing a formal assessment, and it should last no more than 20 to 25 minutes a day. So these are the program components and features. You have the student book, you have the concept and picture cards, You have the teacher resource book. You have the assessments and reproducible Homeschool Connect pages. Now this is a sample lesson in the student workbook. And here you have what the lessons look like, how they are laid out in the teacher's resource book. So you have the thematically organized units that helps promote content area learning. You have the materials and word lists. You have the My Word list to help children collect and categorize vocabulary words. You have the concept cards, words that are actually on the picture cards, which are over here. This is what they look like. You have direct instruction, so it is scripted, and child-centered stories, and also questions that help teachers access understanding and keep children actively engaged, which I absolutely enjoy about this program, because while you are reading, you can just stop and it poses these questions right in the middle of the story. And here is the word list here for each lesson. And these are extended challenge words. Now this is what an actual lesson in the teacher's resource manual looks like. So you have lesson 1, unit 1, the name of the story, day 1, week 1, the introduction to the story. Everything is nicely laid out for you. There are the words that coincide with the picture cards, and this is the actual story here with the words highlighted within the story. And you have the questions right here and right here. And then basically for each day it tells you what to do, what to say, what to go over for each day. Here's what the actual poem looks like, with the spelling words on the bottom. And here is the assessment checklist. And this is basically what it looks like. And the words are listed here. You put the student's name here, and you check off what they how they did with each word. And these are the books for all of the grade levels that it covers. As I had mentioned before, it covers from kindergarten all the way to high school. And actually, my older children, when they were going to school, they were doing Wordly Wise in their school. And when I had first looked over the program, I was really impressed with the way that it was. It kind of reminded me of when I was growing up and how I had to do spelling words. So I really enjoyed this program for them, and I even like doing it now, and that what prompted me to get this program for my younger students. And also Wordly Wise, it comes with picture cards and concept cards. I had gotten the entire set, so I will show you each component of this package here. So these are the picture cards, and you generally use about 10 picture cards for each story. And the picture cards are only featured in the kindergarten and first grade level, and this is the first grade level. So this is what it looks like. It would have the word on the front, and then it would have the picture. So sometimes I would ask them to pronounce the word first, and then I would show them the picture. Sometimes I would do it in reverse, depending if they did not know what the word says. And basically this is what it looks like. So basically there are 150 picture cards, 10 for each lesson, and there are 15 lessons total. So these here are the concept cards, and basically I love these cards because I can post them up in our school area, and it starts provoking conversation and thought with my students, and I can show them the word, for example, the words as I had mentioned previously, or I will show them the pictures first, you know, and have them kind of think about what they're seeing or what they're reading, and we'll talk about it for a minute, and that kind of sparks the conversation for the lesson. It sets the tone for the lesson. So I like using these concept cards. We've used them for each and every lesson when we were doing this program, and you know, I think that they actually work out really well, and they help with the lessons tremendously. I would suggest that you get it, although I've noticed that many people opt to not get it. But when you get things in a complete set, it gives you a better understanding of how to use it and to use the materials effectively. So with that said, I would highly suggest that you get the concept cards as well. And there are 15 concept cards, one for each lesson. And finally, the last component to the entire series, this is the student workbook. And I just wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of what it looks like. So while you are reading the story, you have the story where you go over the story words here right before you start reading, and it shows you different pictures of what the story is about. And in another lesson, they ask you, you are to ask the student rather to put each event in order, to color specific items in the pictures, and to listen for the word that is one of the spelling words, one of the words that they go over from the picture cards, and you have to determine, they have to determine which bubble to fill in. And there's also an activity page where they have to make the connections from where, in this example, is from where the characters are, to connect different pictures to a final place. And basically this would be lesson 2. And just to show you really quickly, now as it gets from the middle toward the end, they have a little journal page here where the children have a task to do down here. So this task was to have the children use their imaginations to design and label a new kind of vehicle. So this was the vehicle that one of my children made, and they put the name there. Now this is the Wordly Wise book for grade 2, and this is the teacher's resource book, and it basically covers Again, what should be taught, what is good vocabulary development, what should direct instruction include. So it tells you right here both definitional and contextual information about a word, multiple exposure to the word in different contexts, encouragement of students, active participation in their own learning. And then it goes on over here and it speaks about multiple exposures, encouraging active participation, how, when, and where to use wordly wise, and it just gives you a list here. Also, it has a full audio word list. It talks about Wordly Wise Online. They have online resources, and it tells you what it contains, the full audio word list, a quick check question, MP3 downloadable files, games, teachers' materials, all sorts of things, sample teaching plans, and it has a once-a-week teaching plan and a 3-day-a-week teaching plan and a 5-day-a-week teaching plan as well. So over here it talks about how to place your child, what is the appropriate level to give a book to give your child, and basically it says to keep them at their grade level unless they're struggling, and how many teachers uses different levels for different purposes. But here it has this excuse me, this chart here, and it shows the different books. So book 2, it has level 300L to 500L, and again it's based on the child's level. Down here it speaks on suggestions on struggling readers and English language learners. You have your strategies and techniques for teaching vocabulary. Encouraging wide reading. Emphasis learning from context. So over here you have your different checklists and charts to determine how well the child knows the material, knows the words. It tells you that you can use graphic organizers, definition maps, semantic maps, Venn diagrams, and a semantic feature analysis here. So in this book, it gives you basically tests, lesson reviews, assessments, different things of that nature. It kind of, for me, I feel like it almost kind of left you like, okay, now it kind of threw you out there for a little bit, because now they went from being very scripted and, you know, they took a multi-sensory approach, and then now it's mainly in this in a book, and you'll see what I'm talking about, as opposed to having those different resources. So in level 1 here you have your review exercise. This is it right here. This is what lesson 1 looks like. And then you have here, you have, this is lesson 1A, so you have words and their meanings. So after you have gone through the meanings of each word, then this is kind of a review for the student. And they always have a word list here. You have your answer key here. Then you have your tests here. It has a cumulative test as well. And here's what it looks like. Now this is what the student workbook looks like. I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough of it. Here's the context. Over here you have the seeing connections. Look at each group of words, and basically 3 are related in some way, 1 doesn't belong, that type of thing. And down here you have applying meaning. Circle the letter of the correct answer to each question. And then over here you would have a story with the words highlighted, the spelling words highlighted in the book. And then you have a review puzzle. And then you move on to the next lesson. Now again, these are the student workbooks for each grade level. And it goes from kindergarten all the way to grade 12. And that was my quick walkthrough of this book. We did not get book 3 as yet. We should be getting it maybe a little bit later on this year, and maybe when we start on book 4, I will come back and do another review of book 3 and 4 for you. So I thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.